boys and girls. Back again with Go Math. Today we're going to be learning about a new kind of graph. Yesterday we practiced with picture graphs, and today we're going to practice with bar graphs. We're going to try to find out how to read a bar graph, to find the number that the bar graph shows, and how to get good information from a graph. We're going to do lessons 10.3 and 10.4 today, boys and girls. So I'm going to do a few examples from each one. The story at the bottom of the first page says, read the following problem. Emma's class made this picture graph right here. Same kind of graph we talked about yesterday. What question could Emma's class answer using the graph? So we could find questions like, how many fewer laces? How many more laces? Or how many fewer without laces? We could see who has the most laces or no laces. How many children had laces? How many children had no laces? I'm not going to write all of those questions down here, but you could fill this in with questions that you could ask about what kind of sneaker were they wearing today. That was an interesting graph of their class to see how many children had laces and how many children did not. In a bar graph, each bar shows information. You can compare the lengths of the bars. What title describes this graph? So here we see this art tools here and how many children here, markers, paintbrush, and crayons. So what would be a good title for this? Maybe how many children have art tools? Or children with art tools? I think we're just going to say students with, get that a capital there, art tools. Be a good title for that. This shows how many children have these art tools. So now down here, how many children chose paintbrushes? This is a picture of a paintbrush, so we look up here. Now notice it's not just circles this time. They made a big bar. That's why this is called a bar graph, because it has a big bar. It's like a candy bar laying there that shows how many. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that shows how many. Now I counted them this time, but on a bar graph you could look right down and you could see right where the bar stops. You could go down to the number and see how many. You don't have to count every time. How many children chose crayons? See that little crayon? It says crayons. So I could follow my bar to the end, go down and look, and it's 2. 1, 2. Number 3 says, how many more children chose paintbrushes than crayons? So here's paintbrushes, here's crayons. You have to be careful. We're not talking about the markers right now at all. We're talking about the paintbrushes and the crayons. So I'm going to look. These two match. These two match. This one does not have a match. So I'm going to draw the line, and it wants to know how many more. So now I'm going to count. 1, 2, 3, 4. I didn't use the marker line because we're not talking about them. We're talking about the paintbrushes and the crayons. Number 4 says, which art tool did the fewest children choose? I know that the fewest means the very smallest number. Was it the markers? Was it the paintbrushes? Or was it the crayons? Well, I can look real quickly and see this bar goes way out here, and this bar is just a little back. But way down here on crayons was the fewest number. Number 5 says, which art tool did the most children choose? Here's the word most as our clue word. If you look up here, which one of these is the biggest bar? The one where the most. That's right, it's paintbrushes. Paintbrushes have the most. All right, boys and girls, you're going to finish this lesson with your parents or family. You're going to answer all the questions about the favorite vehicles that they have. You're going to turn. You're going to talk about how jackets can be fastened. And you're going to do some over here about breakfast and what we use in the rain. So there's a lot of different bar graphs here for you to practice using. Look at how this bar graph goes this way and this bar graph goes up and down. But it doesn't matter. They just look like little candy bars. I'm going to trace over them. Look at that. This bar graph goes up, then this bar graph, then this bar graph. It's the same thing over here, but they're laying down. So you're going to answer these questions about bar graphs and then move on to lesson 10.4. And there are some more questions about bar graphs. This story says, read the following problem. Dan keeps track of the food he sells at the soccer game. He sells all of the food on the table. Make a bar graph to show the food that Dan sells. So this time they gave us the picture, but we have to make our own bar graph. So here we have pizza. So I'm going to count. There's 1, 2, 3 pizzas. Now, Miss Heifer likes to put a dot on it, 1, 2, 3, and then color it in because I'm like to know exactly where I'm going to color. So pizza has 3 in its bar. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to make my whole bar there. Hot dogs. Well, all right. I'm going to get a new color here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hot dogs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to make my big bar and color it in. Notice I have to be careful. I don't want to go past my number. Here's 5 right here. And then it says tacos. Let's see. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 tacos. 1, 2, 3, 4 tacos. I'm going to make my bar and color it in. So I've made a bar graph now showing how much food that he sold at the soccer game. And it's easy to see. When you're just looking at this whole picture, it's kind of confusing. It's hard to answer questions about how many, fewer, or more when it's all mixed up like this. When you put it on a bar graph, boy, you can see quickly which one had the most, which one had the least. You could even see how many he sold altogether if you counted it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So you could count up how many altogether. Or you could answer a question like, how many pizza and tacos did he sell? So here's pizza and here's tacos. We could add that up. 3 pizzas, 4 tacos. 3 plus 4 is 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you can even use them to do add and subtract problems. Turn the page. Same kind of thing. With this time we have a garden up here. It says make a bar graph to find out. Shade 1 box for each flower in the picture. So I've got some sunflowers and some daisies. The first one down here says daisies. So we're going to mark our daisies and then make our bar graph. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 daisies. I'm going to draw my bar. And then I'm just going to color it in. A bar is just a big rectangle, boys and girls. I'm going to draw my big rectangle bar. Now it wants to know how many sunflowers. I use pink for sunflowers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to draw my big rectangle bar. Color it in. There we go. Now, here we are. We can answer a question now by using our bar graph. There are more blank in the garden. We're comparing. We're looking to see which one has more or less. So match, 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 match. Oh, no match. Draw the line. How many more were there? 1, 2. There are more sunflowers. It doesn't say to put the 2 there. Miss Efford almost wrote the 2 on the line. It says how many more. It says there are more sunflowers in the garden. It wants to know what kind of flower was in the garden. But if we asked how many more, it would be 2. All right. Down here, boys and girls, again, it's one of those questions that say to ask 10 friends. You can just make 10 circles any way you like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Because I know if you're at home, you can't actually ask 10 of friends because they're not there with you. So you can just make 10 circles any way you want and then answer the question. Same thing over on this side. It says ask 10 friends. So you can just make them up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now remember, they have to go in a bar. So you can't just skip around. They have to go in the line because you're making those bars. You're going to color them in and you're going to make your bars. So they have to be in the line to make bars with them. And boys and girls, I'm doing this really fast today with my marker. I hope that you know that you need to be very neat and make your bars very neatly. Don't try to be fast. Miss Hufford's trying to be fast to help us with our time, but you all just take your time and make them beautiful. Don't forget to color them in because we're not making picture graphs. We're making bar graphs. And your graph doesn't have to have the same numbers that I have. Just make sure that you have 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then answer the questions about it. Same thing on the mid-chapter check and the homework. And then, boys and girls, one last little page for practice, and you are finished. You guys have a good time learning about your bar graphs, and I'll see you tomorrow.